Members of the House will come to order. I know that you've been working today in committees, and it's been a busy day. But as we come into the chamber, we've got a calendar that we're going to work on here this afternoon. We'll open up with prayer, and our prayer is going to be led today by the gentleman from Marion County, Representative Tracy Estes. Representative Estes, you have the floor.
Lord, we love you. We just want to thank you for, again, this opportunity to come into this house. I just pray, Lord, that you'll give us your wisdom to work today and do things that would be pleasing in your sight. Lord, you know we do a lot of important things for the people of Alabama. Maybe we will never take that responsibility and do it lightly. And Lord, you know we're going to gather tonight and have some fun with our colleagues upstairs. And I just pray, Lord, that you'll give us protection, as some of us, including myself, are older, and that we will walk away with no injuries. We know we've got inclement weather coming in today. Father, we pray that you protect the people of Alabama. That it looks like could get pretty rough, but nothing stronger than more powerful than your hand. And we just pray that you place your hand over the state of Alabama and protect us in these times. In Christ's name we ask it. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Representative. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Miss Aubrey Gullidge and Sophia Catherine Jones. Aubrey is from Gulf Shores, Alabama, and attends South Baldwin Christian Academy. And Sophia is a senior at Andalusia High School and will be attending Belmont University this fall. Aubrey is the guest of Representatives Wes Kitchens, and Sophia is the guest and the daughter of our very own Chairman, Mike Jones. Ladies.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ladies. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Speaker, Alexander, Allen, Allman, Baker, Ball, Bedsole, Blackshear, Boyd, Bracey, Brown C., Brown K., Carnes, Chestnut, Clark, Klaus, Coleman, Collins, Crawford, Daniels, Desmukes, Drake, Drummond, Easterbrook, Ellis, England, Estes, Farley, Faulkner, Faust, Fincher, Fort, Garrett, Gaston, Gavan, Gray, Greer, Grimsley, Hall, Haynes, Harbison, Hassel, Hill, Hollis, Holmes, Howard, Hurst, Ingram, Isbell, Jackson, Jones M., Jones S., Keel, Kitchens, Lawrence, Ledbetter, Lee, Lipscomb, Lovern, Marcus, McCampbell, McClamming, McMillan, Meadows, Moore M., Moore P., Morris, Oliver, Pascal, Pettis, Pringle, Rafferty, Reynolds, Rich, Robbins, Robertson, Rogers, Sandiford, Scott, Sells, Shaver, Shed, Shiver, Simpson, Smith, Sorrell, Sorrell, South, Stodhagen, Standridge, Stringer, Sullivan, Treadaway, Wadsworth, Warren, Whit, Wharton, Wilcox, Wingo, Wood D., Wood R.
All right, there are 78 members having answered a roll. Quorum is present, and the House is now in a position and ready to transact business. And now let's go to the report from the Committee on Rules.
House of Representatives, your Standing Committee on Rules begs leave to report that it has carefully examined the Journal of the House for the 24th legislative day and finds the same to be correct. Representative Mike Jones, Chairman.
And the gentleman from Covington, Chairman Jones, recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that the reading of the Journal for the 24th legislative day be dispensed with and that absent representatives be excused for this legislative day.
All right, members, you've heard the motion before you. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion is adopted. And the chair recognizes Chairman Greer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to request at this time that we suspend Rule 73 and let the Transportation, Utilities, and Infrastructure Committee meet in room 402. It'll be a very short meeting.
All right,
House
you've
Senate
heard a
Bill
motion before
305.
you we've heard a motion before us to suspend the rules for a committee to meet. This is not something unusual at the close of the last few days of the session. Chair recognizes the lady from Madison, Representative Hall. You want to talk about, just mention the bill that you're addressing?
Yeah, the bill is a very important bill for the state of Alabama. Today, if you choose to, if you got a generator or something, you can just hook it into the power company's lines, and we trying to stop that from happening. Because you could endanger many lives unless we can stop it. And it's not against the law in Alabama today. We wanted to make it against the law, where if a sheriff comes out and tells you to unplug it, you got to unplug it.
It's about lineman safety, and that currency flows back through the lines, and if they're working on the line, it's electrocuted some electric workers. Yeah. All right, members, you've heard the motion. Are there any objections to the motion on the suspension of the rules? Hearing none, then that committee will meet. Chairman Greer, go ahead.
Thank you.
Do you know where your committee is going to meet? Come to the mic. Tell them at the mic. Tell it so the members will know.
Meeting in room 402.
Thank you.
Smoke room.
Thank you. Okay. All right, let's go ahead. The next order of business. Do we have any announcements, Mr. Pro Tem? No announcements. All right, let's go to the next order of business. The clerk is now in the position to receive reports from standing committees. We'll be receiving those throughout the day as we are here in the session chamber. Also, the House is now in a position for the introduction of bills and resolutions, and we'll be receiving those until the clerk completes his paperwork at the end of the day. All right? All right, and the chair recognizes the gentleman from Covington, Chairman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, representatives of the Southern Legislative Conference will be here tomorrow to tape some of the proceedings of the House. Mr. Speaker, I move we grant floor privileges to the SLC crew for the duration of the day tomorrow.
All right, members, the motion before us is to grant floor privilege for the SLC representatives. All in favor of that signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion is granted, and they will be on the floor with us tomorrow. All right. Now, the chair recognizes Representative Woods for personal privilege. Chairman Woods. Well, hold on just a minute.
Yes.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Let me get Representative Stothagen to personal privilege first, and then I'll come to you. Representative, go ahead. I'm trying to line something up.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Wanted to remind everybody about the Battle of Goat Hill tonight at 6 o'clock, of course. We need to try to be there at 5:30 so we can warm up. And also, I would like to have everybody's attention as well. We owe a huge thanks to our speaker and our pro tem for our jerseys. They didn't hesitate when I asked them, and I also just want to thank these men for their leadership that they've done for us in the House. Just thank you guys for everything you do. Thank y'all.
All right, and thank you, Representative. Appreciate that. All right, and now Chair recognizes Representative Woods for personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Steve Hurst, I think, has the first bill coming up, and he forgot and left his phone down on charge in his office, and he was kind enough to ask me if I would go down and retrieve his phone. So, Steve, if you'll come on down, I'll find your phone. Don't be too fast.
Make sure you give us the number to that phone.
I'm checking that.
Yeah, it's BR549. Isn't
That's it.
Is that it?
Yes, it's exactly it. Here, Steve, I didn't find the correct one, but I thought you could use this one.
Payback's rough. Just in case you want to know, that's a replica of a phone. It's a decanter. Come by one day, the seal's not been broke.
All right. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. Thank the gentleman. Make sure you put the phone on his desk. Okay, all right. All right, and before we go to the special order calendar, let's go to Senate messages. Mr. Clerk, if we could call up House Bill 268.
Houses.
From the Senate that they have acceded to the wishes of the conference committee, so we just...
Okay.
There's no vote on it, but you let the members know.
From the Senate, Mr. Speaker, the Senate has concurred in and adopted the report of the Committee on Conference on the as follows.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The conference committee
Zero nays. From the Committee on Finance and Taxation Education, House Bill 300.
All right, and Chairman Class, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is the retired state employee bonus bill, and the Senate agreed to the technical amendment that we passed 2 weeks ago, just doing away with the minimum amount. So there is no minimum amount or maximum amount. It goes to, like we talked about 2 weeks ago, $2 per month that the retiree has worked. So the Senate agreed with us, so I move to concur.
All right, the motion on the floor for concurrence, and the chair recognizes the lady from Jefferson, Representative Gavan.
I just spoke with a member about trying to get clarity on stuff. And I'm just trying to get an understanding, because when this came back and you were asked to, accede.
Concur.
We didn't know, to concur, and you acceded. We didn't really. A lot of things going on around here, so I just wanted to get the clarity, especially because one of the calls I get a lot is from our retired educators.
Per month bonus. In 60 months, they will get a $720 bonus.
Is that a one-time bonus?
Yes.
Or a year? Just one time? No, Max, that's what I was trying to get the clarity on. Thank you so much.
Senate Bill 111. If you are in favor of this bill, your vote is aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. There are 99 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and the motion to concur does prevail. All right. Chair thanks the gentleman. Mr. Clerk, let's call on the Senate Bill 108.
Message from the Senate. Mr. Speaker, the Senate has concurred in and adopted the report of the Committee on Conference on the disagreement of the two houses on House Amendment to Senate Bill number 108. Said conference report being in word figures as follows.
Speaker, members, this is the supplemental appropriation, and the only change that was made here was an additional for reimbursement of costs related to Act.
From the Committee on Tourism, Senate Bill number
Clerk will 100 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and the motion to concur does prevail.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House.
Yeah, Chair thanks the gentleman. Yes, sir. All right. All right, Mr. Clerk, that's all the Senate messages we have for right now. Let's move forward with the special order calendar, and the Chair recognizes the gentleman from Covington.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have a resolution.
Resolution.
House Resolution number 216 by the House Rules Committee, the special order calendar.
And Chairman Jones?
Mr. Speaker, before I make the motion, I'd like to describe the calendars for the members.
That'd be fine. Thank you.
So members, this is the first time we've had this session. This is what's referred to as a standard 10-minute calendar. And so basically it works like this. From the moment you're called to the well and your bill's in play.
Listen up, members. This is important.
From called and the clock starts running, you have 10 minutes to pass the bill in its entirety. So that's BIR, that's any committee amendments, a sub, anything that you have, it has to be passed within that 10 minutes. If the bill does not pass within that 10 minutes, it will roll back to rules. And so it would be eligible to be picked one more time. So once again, you have 10 minutes. That's it. Mr. Speaker, with that in mind, I move adoption.
All right, the question before us is the adoption on the special order calendar. You've heard instructions of how the calendar works. Now, the chair recognizes the gentleman from Mobile, Representative Bracey, speaking on the motion on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the recognition. With the gentleman yield?
Absolutely.
Definitely want to spend some time with you today. My plan, I want to know, do you have your jersey on under your suit?
I do not. I've long since passed the day that I should be playing in any of these games. So
Okay.
I think those reflexes not quite what they used to be a few years back.
I got you, because I'm thinking that we may not get out as quick as we thought today. So,
well, it's a 10-minute calendar, so you count the bills and then times 10 minutes. That's it.
yeah. So I heard you explain the 10-minute calendar and how we got here. Why did you decide to do it this way than one of the 10-minute cloture calendars that you so comfortably slide out of your vest pocket? And why did you decide to do it this way instead today?
Well, I mean, a couple of reasons we're doing a 10-minute calendar. One is we have an activity going on today, and to be timely for that, this was a way to control the time. Okay. And so to give members an opportunity to make another shot at passing a bill that may be particularly special to a particular member. And then once again, we have one more opportunity to be able to transmit HBs, and that's tomorrow.
Right.
And so we set this up to where they could roll back if they did not get passed today for whatever reason, that they could roll back onto the pick list one more time. And then it is our intent tomorrow would be the last time for HBs to be picked for the calendar or tonight for the calendar for tomorrow. And so this is the last 2 days for HBs, so we were just trying to give opportunities to members.
Okay, let me ask you this. So is it 19 or 20 bills on the calendar?
I think there were 17, but 2 of these we've since discovered have been enacted. The SB companion bills have been enacted.
Well, let's talk about intent. So with the intent, if it's 2 Democratic bills on there, why is it only 2 Democratic bills out of, let's say 17? So,
and I did go to your caucus leader and ask if you'll give me a list of any particular Democrat bills that you think might fit a 10-minute calendar. Mm-hmm. There were only 2, one of which we already had picked. We'd already had it on our list. He had one other bill that after he and I looked at it and discussed it, it was probably not a 10-minute that could probably make it. And so we felt like just to go ahead and put it up it'd be selected for tomorrow is what we expect.
So do we feel comfortable that all of these bills are 10-minute calendar bills?
There's
There's
at
a couple
least
of
2
them on there suspect time.
There's at least 2 that the member's going to have to be very aggressive to be able to move them. Is what I would expect.
Yeah.
And it's because they're lengthy bills. They're not. There's nothing on them that's substantive that's a concern. It's just they're procedural bills, but just because of the length of the bills.
Yeah, and I would think that some bills of some level of importance would deserve more than 10 minutes of debate. Would you agree?
And that's another reason for setting the calendar up to where they could roll back to the Rules Committee, is that if that were the case, then they would have potentially one more shot at getting picked for another calendar.
Okay, so can we dispel the myth that if a person speaks 10 minutes on a bill, that it kills the bill? Can we dispel that myth today?
Well, as far as today, it doesn't pass, but you're right. It does not kill the bill.
So what happens to the bill?
It will roll back to the Rules Committee and
Right.
be eligible for being picked one more time.
Right, but a lot of times, if I can remember, a couple of weeks ago, we kept saying that, and we was talking specifically about Representative Rogers. We were saying, well, one time he killed a whole 10-minute calendar. Well, the 10-minute calendar don't die.
There, years ago, we did have, this is a long time ago, there was a type of 10-minute calendar that, because of the timing, it was the timing is the reason why.
Well, if the 10-minute calendar was up tomorrow,
it would be
be
killing
a
the
different
bill.
story.
That's correct.
But with it being up today, then the bill actually doesn't really die, huh?
That's correct. It will roll back to the Rules Committee to be potentially eligible for reselection.
So that means that they will need to do a little bit more work to just try to get that done for tomorrow? Or?
It could. I will say, I've obviously reviewed these bills as I normally do, and most of these bills are fairly straightforward bills. Most, and a fair number of them are actually pretty short bills. So, but there are a couple, at least two in particular.
Which two are you referring to?
That are lengthier.
Which two do you feel to have some level of concern?
No, I just think that it's because of the length of the bills, and one of them has to deal with the veterans, and the other one is towards the end, and it is the PI bill, the PI board bill. Both of those. It's not that there's no substantive concern that I saw in them, but they're lengthy bills.
Okay, so that means it would probably be 4 bills then of some level of concern.
Well, there's 2 other procedural bills I think that. Now, like the landscaping bills, one's got a little length to it, but it's not. There's no substantive issue. So once again, I didn't see a substantive issue that I thought was an issue, but they're lengthier bills.
Well, we have a bill that's changing the Alabama Criminal Code, right? We do
correct.
have one of
I
those
think
in
that's,
here.
let me find it on the list. I think that's HB 337, I believe. That's on the 3rd page, top of the 3rd page.
337, correct.
Yeah.
So if that bill is changing the Alabama Criminal Code, do you think that bill is a bill that only should deserve 10 minutes of debate?
Well, once again, this was a list that was put together by bringing in your caucus leader, our caucus leadership, trying to see if any of these bills would be potentials. If it doesn't, that's fine. It'll roll back to the. So
you're saying
rules.
It's fine?
Well, I'm just saying.
So no hard feelings, right?
None of these bills will be killed today.
Right.
If they were not to pass, they would roll back to rules to be eligible to be repicked one more time.
Okay. So to give you an idea, and I think I've probably said this more than any member, I have serious issues with reasonable suspicion. Right? Reasonable suspicion can give a person a felony based off of this bill, and it's a 10-minute calendar bill.
Well, then I understand what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
And I can see where you might want to have some debate on that. That's the prerogative of each member. So,
okay. So we just wanted to have no offense on. What about the shotgun bill?
Well, that
you got to have it up under your arm, huh?
Yeah, that was actually a technical. When the gun bill was passed a few weeks back, there was a change made to the definition of shotgun when that bill came through. It was a technical change.
What did they change it to?
And that's what this is. This bill returns it back to exactly what it was before that bill passed. And so it was an error. It should not have been changed. It should have been left like it was. So this bill, all it does is literally return it exactly word for word back to what it was.
So basically, on that bill, were we clotured on that bill?
Honestly, I don't remember. We had a lengthy debate.
Yeah, I think we were. That was the bill that the police officers were upstairs, and we got clotured. We voted, and they walked out. So on a bill that we got clotured on, it sounds like you're saying that we have unintended consequences.
No, it was like I said, it was a technical change.
It's a technical change that we have to correct because we rushed through the situation and not allow proper debate of the situation so we can discuss these things and see if we have some issues that need to be corrected. So now, like so many bills we rushed through,
Well,
if you don't correct it early, because you know you're good at that, you catch some stuff early. But if you don't correct it early, then we'll have some unintended consequences and have to come back. But the difference is this year we're trying to correct it in the same session. Because usually,
if there was ever
we
a
try
bill
to
that
correct
was
our unintended consequences the next session.
if there was ever a bill that had a lot of time vetting, that bill took about a month and a half to 2 months of vetting.
What bill?
The gun bill that passed. That was not a bill that moved through fast. That bill was worked slowly through
It
the
moves
process.
fast on the floor.
As far as going through this body, it did not. It took a long time.
You really think that we had an opportunity to really have a lot of input in that bill? Were any of that input taken into consideration?
Actually, yes. That bill had modified greatly from the
Based
point of...
off of our point of view?
Actually, I took everybody's point of view, and it modified greatly from the point when it was dropped to the bill that actually ended up passing. It's a substantially different bill, and that's the process, and that's the good part about the process.
Okay, so you're saying that you took in our point of view into consideration. Well, I guess that'll be up for discussion another time. I guess I got 10 seconds. But, you know, we'll be fortunate because I don't mind talking all day today. If anybody else don't want to talk on the calendar, I'll just come back and because I didn't even get a chance to talk about your beautiful daughter that you brought up here today. So,
And the chair thanks the gentleman. All right, the chair recognizes the gentleman from Hale County, Representative Howard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
Anytime, as you well know.
You know, being on rules, I think I know a little something about this calendar. Are there any constitutional amendments on the 10-minute calendar?
I think there is at least one, if my memory serves me right.
One constitutional amendment?
There's actually 2 bills that have already been enacted, so this list will reduce by 2. We found that out this morning, actually. The SB companion bills had passed, and because those bills were never indefinitely postponed, we still had them on the list. But I believe 2 of these bills, I know they've been enacted. So I think HB 463, that's a local CA. But because of the issue, I think it had to go through 2 committees, local leg and a general committee, a standing committee. So there's at least one CA that I'm...
One CA?
Yeah. And there may be another one, but I know there's one.
Well, let's spend a little time talking about local constitutional amendments, because I've got one over in Greene County that I'm concerned about.
Have you already filed it?
No, it will be in a gaming bill.
Oh, okay.
But these local constitutional amendments.
Is there one of those? And I'm not aware of one in play right now.
I don't know whether the bill will come up or not, but when we look at the calendar and we look at local bills and local issues, and may it be 18 years I've been a member of this body.
A lot longer than me.
Well, thank the people of my district.
Yes, sir.
But we come down here and we represent our people.
Yes, sir.
And I would never sponsor a bill, introduce a bill to impede on your right to represent your people.
I know you would not.
And I would not do that.
I know.
And I understand that deeply, and it means something to me.
Yes, sir.
Because your constituents sit you down here, and mine sent me down here. So I take issue when people introduce bills that would affect my community.
This one been filed?
No, I don't know whether they would come up or not, but I'm just talking about, because we have a CA on this calendar.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because
okay.
we have a CA on this calendar. I want to keep it germane to what we're doing here today with constitutional amendments.
And this one's kind of an interesting CA. It's dealing with carbon credits on Forever Wild Trust land. I mean, it's kind of a unique issue type of CA. In fact, I think it's the first one of its kind I've seen. So
on a 10-minute calendar, that's interesting. But if it does not affect my district, and we all come down here, we know we represent the entire state. But I just want us to be mindful when we bring bills, because I have a pretty good understanding of what the people in my district want. It is not for me to tell anybody, well, you need to do this, or you need to do that. You know, you and I spend a lot of time over there reading bills,
Yes,
talking, and understanding each other.
Yes, sir.
I don't think if there's nobody in this body that are good friends, you and I are, because we really are.
Yes, sir.
But I want us to take that serious, because
Yes,
it's
sir.
something that I take seriously. That if you're going to have a constitutional amendment, we have local applications. Honor the wishes of your local delegations. I don't think the people sent me down here for 18 years, and I think they know that I'm going to represent them.
Yes, sir.
Now, to have a CA on a 10-minute calendar,
Well, and once again, it's a, you know, some CAs, as you know, through Rule 39, if they deal with environmental, if they deal with certain issues, they go through both local leg and through a standing committee. And so I think this is one that I believe fell into that description because of the what it speaks of. That's all I can tell you.
Chairman Jones, you made my point. It's local.
Well, and that's the first thing I was
just
telling.
made my
Yeah,
point. It's
that's the
local.
first thing.
So that's a local bill. It's a local issue.
And my notes actually refer to it as a local CA.
Local CA.
Yep.
And I have a local CA over in Greene County.
Once again, is it
It's
in
not
play?
on. It's not
Okay.
on the calendar.
Okay. I see what we're doing. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And you know, it really means a lot to me, because what you accept, it's like landfills. I don't want a landfill in my district. People fight them. But we find landfills are often placed in communities that are minority, poor, and we have the right to deny some of these things that want to be dumped on our community. So I just want to remind the body about our local CAs and how we come down here and how we are independent. You know, I don't know what's going on in your community. I think you got some very smart people in your community, and I hope they send you to the Senate. But we represent our people.
Yes, sir.
And I know you won't do it. I don't know how other people feel about it. But we shouldn't have to stand here and debate or worry about what's going to happen in my community.
You and I mean, frankly, you already know this. We see eye to eye. You've known that for years on that kind of issue. And as long as it's only affecting your district, and I'm totally in agreement with you. You know, in the 12 years I've been here, I can remember maybe one or two that were local bills that actually affected beyond the local district. And I looked at those as unique exceptions to the rule. And I think every member on the floor actually realized they did apply beyond, have implications beyond the local district. And if I remember correctly, even on those bills, it was the floor was somewhat divided on how that bill was voted, both R's and D's. I don't think those were actually partisan issues. I think they were more about the issue within the bill. And so those are extremely unique. I mean, I think one or two in 12 years is all I've seen like that. So,
do you remember the bill? There was a junkyard in your district?
Yes, sir.
And you voted with the people in your district?
Yes, sir. And I'll tell you specifically, I voted with the member right here in front of me who came to me and said that he needed that for his home area. And when my mentor came to me and asked that, I said, where do I need to sign? So that's how I handled it.
I remember that bill because you voted against a lot of people in your party in support of your district.
Yes, sir.
And I respect you for it. And that's what we do. And as my time winds up, I want to thank all the members Mr. Speaker, that prayed for my daughter. She's doing a lot better.
Good.
She's walking on a cane. We've gone through a lot, but I would hope that we respect each other in this process.
Yes, sir.
And we move forward, and we'll see where the calendar goes. We see the will of the body, and
I'll miss our talks.
I hope that everybody gets their bill out.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And Chair thanks the gentleman. Chair recognizes the lady from Montgomery, Representative Morris. Oh, the gentleman from Jefferson, Representative Rogers.
Dr. Jones, you remember I had a bill, very knocking bill that everybody approved, wanted to pass from all the departments. Now, I haven't put a bill in this year to try to pass a bill since that time. You know why? Because of the fact that 15 folks signed the list. 15, am I lying?
Now, how many years ago was that?
I still remember it.
I know you do.
I still got the list. The list still active. Hey, 15 folks signed the list to take an innocuous bill off the calendar that had nothing, all the parties agreed upon bill, just because it was me. Now, I made a vow at that time that whenever that 15 came up on a calendar, for 10-minute calendar, I was going to kill a bill. Now, did I tell them that 4 years ago?
I'll be honest, it's been so many years ago, I don't remember.
And I have not tried to pass a bill this year. I haven't put a bill. I put a bill in. I ain't trying to bring a bill to the floor. I haven't been in your committee asked you to put any kind of bill on the floor for me.
And there was a day I think I helped you draft a bill that we passed.
I let it go because of the fact that it was so much animosity against me.
Yes, sir.
For putting a bill on, and you did all you could do, and I admire you for it. And I said to myself then that whenever I got a shot at those people on that list, I don't care if I stay 4 more years, which I probably will, I'm gonna be the same way. If they're here 4 years from now or a year from now, I'm gonna be the same way. And I'm just being honest with you. I haven't tried to pass. I haven't been approached. I passed enough bills during my time. Not to worry about ever passing any more bills.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of my bills I put in have been taken over by somebody else. And the marijuana bill is my bill. The gaming bill, everybody knows my bill. The daylight saving time, my bill. Several bills that I authored and have been passed by other folks. I don't care. I haven't personally tried to pass a bill at all. And I look at all my friends in here. Because I said I got the names, and some of them. I hate all of them on this list. I wish all of them on this list. So I get them all at one time and let it go. But I don't have but 2 folks on this list that's on my list. So I'm not gonna try to kill all the 10-minute bills, but with no, it's gonna revert back to the calendar anyway. But when those folks, both folks on that list can't apologize. Say they're sorry. They got duped, and that one person came to them and told them to kill my bill because they were angry at me personally. And that's what they told me. They wanted to apologize to me and say, I got fooled because somebody said they were mad at you, but I'm sorry, I got duped. I won't do it again. But now there are 2 people on your list, who have, to this day, have not apologized. Now, it's number 2 folks on. I mean, I tried to find more than this who hadn't apologized. It's 2 folks who haven't apologized. Everybody else came to me and said they were sorry. We didn't know we were young, we were new, we didn't know what was going on. We won't do it again. We fine. But I've been laying in the cut like Brother Rabbit for a long time, waiting on these 2 folks.
Now, I'm going to have to tell you, I've never actually looked at you in that way. So.
Well, you know, Sam, I told Sam Jones about it. I said, Sam, I'm not going to put a bill in and try to pass it. I don't want to put a bill in, because my bill, they're taking them down pass anyway, so I just lay in the cut like an old bro fox. Lay in the cut, my day will come. Lord have mercy, my day coming, right here. Thank God, Lord, bring my day on right now. And I got those two names on this list, and they know who they are. And I'm not trying to, but those are the only two I'm at. Hey, everybody else is fine. I love everybody, but you don't go out there and purposely kill a good bill that has no meaning to hurt anybody. And it was just everybody agreed upon, but my name was on the bill, and they said when we got 15 signatures to sign a list, taking my name off the consent calendar. Now that was just malicious and dirty. And I'm gonna be just malicious and dirty in the days I can. And if I'm here next year, if we don't get together, it'll be the same thing here, 10-minute calendar I got. Now I'm not the whole 10-minute calendar. I'm just at the two names I got. I wish all 10 of them on the list, but everybody else already apologized anyway, said it was real wrong. But these two are so ingrained in their heart, especially one of them, that I got to take it out, and you can put it back on the calendar later on. I'm not gonna call the name, but I got it. Hey, it's on the calendar. I was praying that one or two of them be on the calendar. And Lord have mercy, good Lord deliver. He put one of them on the calendar. I said, thank God. I prayed to him. Thank you, Jesus. So that's the only one I'm concerned about. Everybody else, I don't care. But I'm not gonna try to kill the whole calendar. Just one or two. And then they get reverted back to a regular calendar. But you remember that time, because you tried your best to work it out. And I admired you for it ever since. I'll tell you right now, they could get a better man to go to city than you. I hate to see you leave, because you've been fair to me, okay? And that's all I ask for. And I appreciate it. But if you notice, I haven't asked for a bill to be put in committee. And you know why? Because all the years I paid so many bills that don't even matter.
Yes, sir.
And see, I've been waiting in the cut on this particular bill, personally. Now, if I'm just being honest with you, that's what I'm going to do. And I know that people got certain things they want passed and not passed, and I'm not picking and choosing. I just got that one bill. The only person on here with a calendar and whether they like me or hate me, I don't care. When I leave here, I'm going home to my area. They go home to their area. We will see each other every now and then. But I remember that list, and I got a copy of this. And I'm gonna keep it for this year. If they come back next year, if I come back, I'm coming back every year till they don't come back. When they don't come back, I'll retire. Cause I told them then, I said, you don't do me now. I don't forget. And I got some people who want to help me. So I admire you for being what you did. You tried to work it out. You said, look here. But it's only a personal thing against me. And so I'm making a personal thing against them. You know, people say, well, we friends. And we down here, I see you in here. You go to your area, I go to my area. I'll see you no more than next year. We don't have to interact at all until we come back down here. That's the only thing I'm going to do. I'm being honest with you. I thought about filibustering the calendar, switching everything around. I ain't got to do all that. The person whose name on that list, that's all I'm concerned about. And everybody come by and check your name off the list and say they're sorry, but two folks have not done that. It's 2 of the 15. And those are the only 2 I'm concerned about. And I imagine, because I ain't going to forget. So that's all I'm concerned about.
Okay.
And you can't blame a man. See, I sacrificed all year. I done filed a bill. I done tried to pass a bill. I tell the speaker, I haven't been in your committee asking for a bill to pass. I ain't been nobody to put a bill on the calendar. I filed some bills in, so somebody could get them, look at them. If they like them, take them for themselves.
Yes, sir.
But I don't have my name don't have to be on the bill. So I'm satisfied with just lay it in the cut like old bro rabbit. Watch molasses run, and then we'll be all right. So that's all, and then I'm okay. That's all I want. It's not for one person on the list right now. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Chair thanks the gentleman. And the chair recognizes the gentleman from Clark, Representative Jackson. Come on down. It's good to see you today.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, sir.
I'm just hoping that you I kept playing with the light, and I said, he's not going to call on me at all because the light. Let me ask the question, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, whatever happened to my resolution that's in rules?
I'm sorry, you have to remind me. I've had a few things.
You mean you don't got amnesia up in here?
I'm sorry, what now?
You got amnesia?
No, I've just I've been reading quite a bit lately, so I have to keep more and more notes.
Never come across your mind. I know that. I just want to. How do a person get their name, their pick on the 10-minute calendar? These bills.
The 10-minute calendar was, once again, there was a number of people that we asked to give input. We asked your caucus leader, we asked our caucus, our leadership, and we tried to see if bills that had potential for maybe a 10-minute calendar. All right, and so we tried to take input from as many as we could. But as far as the bills, what I was looking for was something that was potentially could come through that was more procedural or a very short bill. There are at least two bills on this list that are a little lengthier.
Thank you. Could you give me the definition of a shotgun?
I can tell you what the bill says.
Do you remember Ray Parker back in the day? Or was it somebody else? A shotgun, shoot him before he run. Now, you going to change the definition of that?
Are we talking about a song now? Is that what we're talking about?
It's a song but shotgun was brought up in that song. Since I saw something on this calendar that relates to.
Right. So what this, and this is HB 513 you're referring to, it's literally returning it word for word back to what it was before it was changed through that gun bill.
And what was it before then? I'm gonna
so
sit down.
right, the definition before is, you mean to read it or not?
What was the definition before he changed it?
It says a weapon designed or redesigned, made or remade, and intended to be fired from the shoulder, and designed or redesigned or made or remade to use the energy of the explosive in a fixed shotgun shell to fire through a smooth bore, either a number of ball shot or a single projectile for each single pull of the trigger.
So they'd eliminate the
So it eliminated made or remade and intended to be fired from the shoulder and designed or redesigned.
So I can't shoot from my hip. I can't shoot shotgun from my hip.
It's not
it has
about,
to be to my shoulder.
It's not that you can't shoot from the hip. It's referring to the design, the intended design of a weapon.
Now, did it say anything about the length of the barrel?
No, so that's a different law that you're referring to.
Now, I'm not going to stay here. I'm going back. Some of the
There is
old guys
another-
gotta
there is
stretch
another-
so they can get them yanks out their back.
There is another code section that deals with that.
There's another section.
Yes, sir.
I want to go back to that resolution that I dropped.
Well, and actually it's in this one. It says short-barreled shotgun, and it says a shotgun having one or more barrels less than 18 inches in length.
Can you have a 3-barrel shotgun?
And an overall length of 26 inches. So it's saying 18 inches.
18 inches. From the
barrel. The barrel itself.
Got to
Right.
be 18 inches.
Yes, sir.
Anything less than that is illegal.
And the total shotgun has to be modified as an overall length of less than 26 inches. So that qualifies it as a short barrel shotgun.
So I heard a colleague talks about a constitutional amendment that's on this 10-minute calendar.
Right.
Now, how did that get there?
It's a local CA that has, because of the topic of it, I think it went through two committees, local leg and a standing. If it's a Rule 39 type of CA or local.
I'm not gonna filibuster. I'm gonna go to my seat because I'm gonna have my shotgun tonight. Somebody gonna run. They're gonna hit the ball and they're gonna run to the third base instead of the first base. Thank you.
Chair thanks the gentleman. The chair recognizes the lady from Madison, Representative Hall.
We're out of stuff. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the gentleman yield?
Absolutely, ma'am. Anytime.
So now you know I'm not a I'm not a friend of 10-minute calendar. You know
Yes,
that,
ma'am.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
And
We don't, this is actually the first and apparently maybe with the only one we have this year. So
I'm sorry, I didn't
I
understand.
said this is the first of its type we've had this year.
Right. And so when I went through these bills,
Yes, ma'am.
if I was looking at a 10-minute calendar, could you help me to understand there was one that dealt with a constitutional amendment?
It's a local CA. Yes, ma'am.
Right. Help me to understand. I mean, how would that fit on a 10-minute calendar?
It was it's because it was an isolated issue. It was not a complicated issue. Other than it takes a vote of 63 or greater, there was not any extra things on the board for it to take up. So it was still a fairly straightforward bill. But as you know, some bills, some locals are Rule 39 type bills that also have to go through a standing committee. I believe this was one of those that had to do that as well.
And then so in the next, I look at the second bill, and I've even said this to the sponsor when they spoke to me about how, the one that deals with Veterans Affairs. So if you take that bill,
I've seen it. I read it. Yes, ma'am.
how do you determine that that bill would classify for a 10-minute calendar?
Well, there was more of the input on this calendar than just me. And so,
whoever made the decision, my discussion, I'm not shy
yes, ma'am.
about what the.
It is. This is one of the ones I referred to earlier in the conversations in the debate. This is one of the two bills that's lengthier. However, as you have, and I've read the bill, I would describe it as much more about updating, cleanup, and procedural. I didn't see anything that I thought was substantive in the nature as far as major changes. It was much more of just an updating and cleanup approach. It is a lengthier bill, though.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
And so in 10 minutes, for somebody like me to come, I mean, I could just take several pages where I could tell you where I could go through and
it took me some time to read through it as well because,
course.
as you saw, there's strikes, and some of the language that was updated was not done always immediately up under the area that was struck. At least in one circumstance, it was over about 2 or 3 pages, and then once that was brought to my attention, then it made perfect sense. So I understand what you're saying, but as I do read through the bills, and I was looking for those issues.
Okay, so you say that though, and you see so much. I think one of the things is, as we struck through, you also had you had quite a bit of new language. Now, many times the language was reworded, like urban and rural was changed to be rural and urban. I mean,
yes, ma'am. I saw the same thing, but a lot of the strikes were also consolidations, and so they used more. So instead of describing things at length, they boiled it down to make it a much more general description, to give it to where it included everything that was struck out, and I could go through it with you after we're through with this discussion. I could show you some examples of that, but that's what I'm saying. It appeared to be just an updating, consolidation of that part of the code. I have been also notified that probably next session there's a second part to this code section that I think they're working on now to come back and do a similar update. And I think the reason why they didn't want to do it all at one time, it would make it a very, very lengthy bill. And so I think they broke it down into at least 2 pieces. This is the first piece.
and okay, I mean, And there was something in there. Oh, yeah, it was a certificate of need request. I didn't understand.
It's on the last page, page 34, I believe.
Right, but it says, well, I mean, I will have a chance to talk about when it gets up, but just.
I asked about that same issue.
How is it that if that process is in place, what does that do, process now versus?
Yes, ma'am. I actually asked that same question of the sponsor before we started today. And once they gave me the explanation, it made sense. So when this code was originally set up, one of the 3 locations it's mentioned on, and this is on the last page of the bill.
Right,
so I can speak to it to help you out.
It's on page 34.
Yes, ma'am.
A 34-page bill on a 10-minute calendar. Check
Yes,
that
ma'am.
out.
So those 3 locations, one of those locations was in the original code that was an exception or exempted from CON. And then in the CON code, which is a different code than the Veterans Code, the other 2 locations are listed in that portion of our code. What this was an attempt to consolidate them into one spot to clean that up. And so these have always had an exemption for the CON. These are the only 3. And that's the reason why they were retained in this list. That's also the reason why they didn't add to it. And so all the other facilities were never exempted, so they all fall within the normal
Wait a minute,
process.
so make sure I'm clear. Now the way I understood it, the CON code didn't apply to the veteran.
There were 3 exemptions to the CON code, and these are the 3 exemptions, but they go back many years.
Right.
And the feds were aware of that, and so
Right.
they approved these 3.
Exactly.
Because we're not adding any more to it, and so
Right.
I think if we added any more to it, then they would not be approving. So, but because these have always been exempted, that they were okay with that. But you and I had the exact same question. I saw the same thing. And I'm not trying to take over for the sponsor, but I was just trying to help him out.
Well, you might have helped him some by helping that, because he's already aware.
Yes, ma'am.
That I think that we shouldn't. That bill is one of those that I would not have put on the 10-minute calendar.
Yes, ma'am.
Of course, nobody asked me what I wanted, so I just, I just tell you what I'm thinking, and then I move on. Tell me, there was a bill on landscaping, I believe.
Yes, ma'am. That's near the front, I think. That's HB 348, bottom of page 2.
34, yes.
And there's
And then we got the landscaping one was one, the veteran affairs one, that raised the flag for me and for terms of a 10-minute calendar.
and then HB 467, the PI bill.
Right, and then 463, and the one that deals with the constitutional amendment.
That's the local CA. That's right.
Right. So as we look at these, are you planning? Are you contemplating having additional 10-minute calendars?
No, I'm not right now. I'm not. We haven't discussed it. This is the last week we're going to be transmitting HBs, and we're at the end of session.
Right, I understand.
And so next week we'll be focusing on SBs, and that's the reason why you don't see any SBs on this. This is all HBs.
I understand.
And that's also our intent for tomorrow, is that when rules meets at the end of today, it was our intent to let the members pick from the remaining bills that are HBs.
And so as we move forward, I certainly would challenge all of us to be mindful of the fact that there are some other bills that other individuals too would like to have seen on the calendar as well, and they aren't. But you learn to live with the hand that you're dealt.
Well,
you're not always happy about it, but it also is just thinking about, as you look at this session and what we dealt with the week before spring break, and then we come back and then we get a 10-minute calendar that is,
Well, it's not. Once again, this is not a cloture calendar at all.
I understand.
And so that's not what this is. And I wanted to be clear on that.
Right.
And that's also why I wanted to describe it to the members when I started this, was if any bill does not make it within 10 minutes, it will return back to rules.
And I appreciate the fact that you explained that process does not, somebody said, well, you kill a bill. Well, that process does not, the bill just goes back to its normal place.
Yes, ma'am.
That makes it. So anyway, I think you've answered all my questions. Landscape, Veterans Fair, the Constitutional Amendment. That was 463 was a constitutional amendment. I think I have gotten through them, and thank you for your time.
Anytime, ma'am.
And the chair thanks the lady. The chair recognizes the lady from Jefferson, Representative Gavan.
Might be my last time shaking your hand, Mike Jones. The special order calendar.
I had a feeling you're going to start it that way.
It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. I still, as learned as you are in everything that you do, the only thing you haven't been able to do is help me really understand what is so special about the special order calendar. And especially a 10-minute special order calendar. I was actually sitting there thinking, Representative Jones, how to me it was so much fun when the 10-minute calendar was like it was before we changed the rules a few years ago. Because I took pleasure in just sitting here watching some of the members as they cringe or squirm around in their seats, wondering with anticipation if someone was going to actually come and speak the full 10 minutes and kill the bill. And of course, back then, of course, it was much harder to get a bill back on the calendar. And for all intents and purposes, the bill, in some instances, could or would die, depending on how remote in time we had bought the special order calendar. So my question to you today is, how did we get to this list of bills that are, I believe that are on this calendar, and did I see a CA on this bill? Could you help just enlighten me about that CA? Because you don't really put too many CAs on 10-minute calendars.
Well, actually, we have.
You have?
Yes, ma'am. And this, once again, is a local CA. So, for instance, if a local CA was just on the list of local bills.
It's a local CA.
That's right.
Okay, I'm thinking it's a statewide. Okay, a local CA.
Yes,
okay. Okay, what area is it in? What district?
I think it's Coosa County, I believe. Coosa County.
Who covers Coosa County?
Representative Robbins.
Representative Robinson. It's so interesting as you start thinking about these districts. I was actually listening, watching forensic files. For some reason, I've started watching that because outside of something like that, you only have the news media now, national news, which I was hooked on that. That's all I would actually engage in, and it's just gotten so crazy. So I started watching forensic files, and the reason I'm bringing that up is that they had a situation, a murder that had occurred in DeKalb County. So anytime you see Alabama, and that's your home state, my interest, of course, it rises. But so we have the CA, and how many bills are on this special order?
I believe there were 17. I put, once again, 2 of these bills, the companion SBs have already been enacted. And so when we reach those bills, I'll be moving to carry them over or postpone them, indefinitely postpone.
Okay, so the budget has passed. We don't have to ask for the BRR anymore, right? Didn't
No, the ETF has not passed.
The ETF, that's right. ETF hasn't passed. Okay, I got you. So, and the last day as it relates, have we gotten to that threshold date of being able to drop in or sponsor any bills?
Well, tomorrow is the last day for HBs to transmit.
Okay. That's a good thing. Do we have a count on the House bills versus the Senate bills? I've been getting some reports that some of our legislation, because of some dealings with a couple of bills that several senators they were pleased with, but they're not moving, that we're going to possibly suffer the consequences.
And I actually do not have that list with me right now. I was busy trying to address some other issues before we came in. I can tell you there are no SBs on this calendar. And when we select a calendar for tomorrow, it's the calendar, the pick list we'll be picking from
Well,
will be HBs.
I have an SB, I hope, that's going to come down soon that I really need to have passed. And so whatever.
And we'll be taking up SBs next week.
Okay, so hopefully mine will make it down next week. I hope it's probably will have this first reading. It should be ready to come out the basket up there next week. I hope, Monday. Because it's my understanding we're going to do a 4-day week next week, possibly.
I can't confirm that yet.
Okay, you can't confirm.
I knew that we were looking at a 3-day, but it may change.
Okay. Well, it'll be my last regardless, because I just don't think it would make sense to come back for 1 day on that Monday.
Well, the theory behind it obviously is if there were an issue that required an override,
other than that, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So.
And that's actually part of frankly, that's part of the duty of the legislature is to be a co-equal branch of government. That if there were a need for an override, then that's the reason we reserve that date.
Yeah, well, I believe in that system. I've been just for you even just to talk about, the role of legislators. It's unfortunate that so many people really don't know what our roles are. Some of them think that we have the responsibilities that mayors have, that county commissioners have. We should be picking up trash. We're supposed to be stopping bingo halls. And I'm dealing with this issue in District 60. But my mother told me not to argue with ignorance. At some point, you can't win. And it's like one of those things where we don't regulate bingo. The law already says that bingo is illegal. We don't enforce it. You need to talk to your sheriff or your district attorney. We don't bring business. We support and provide for the general fund in the state, but that's responsibility of the local municipalities and local government. But I just think that what I would like to see is that folks around the state get a better understanding as to what we actually do. We don't even have to pass a bill. The law just says we have the authority and the other ones to pass a bill. And not only that, the other last thing about it, as you talked about our responsibilities, we have responsibilities for passing an education trust fund and a general fund budget.
That's correct.
And when we do those things and we do nothing else, we have done our jobs. Would you say that's correct, Representative?
That is the two primary obligations of the legislature.
So, and Representative Moore taught me that when I first came into office. But again, hopefully we'll get through this. Are we going to finish this entire calendar?
Our intent is to move through the calendar, yeah.
Okay.
And once again, because it is a 10-minute calendar.
10 minutes is going to go real quick.
Yeah.
Everybody should get their legislation out. And I didn't really see anything that I had any issues with. It's just trying to get that understanding of the special order calendar.
Yes, ma'am.
And out of 12 years, it's just something about the word special order, especially the way some of these bills have come down this year and the rules that have changed in the middle of change. And, and some things move with the speed of light and others, they just move about like a turtle. But I appreciate it, and I've enjoyed working with you these 12 years, and I think you'll probably do fine in the Senate. But it's been good. It's been a good ride, and the people of the state of Alabama appreciate you. It's a good thing you brought your daughter here with you. She's quite the fashionista. I told a representative she gets it from her mama.
I can't argue with that one.
And it was I remembered her from Point Clear, as I mentioned a moment ago. But I appreciate the opportunity to learn a little bit more about the Education Trust Fund budget, about the special order calendar and all that entails, and having this opportunity. And hopefully we can move next week most of these House bills that have been in limbo and we can get them in the basket in the Senate as we move the Senate bills out the basket down here in the House. Because I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of messages from the Senate rolling out in short order. So again, I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am.
And the chair thanks the lady. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Mobile, Mayor Jones. And 4:18 is our 1 hour, so you'll have up to that period of time to speak. Yes, sir. One-hour debate. We go to the 1 hour. Been doing it all session. Go ahead, Major.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this short time.
You're welcome.
Mr. Group Chairman, I thought.
By the way, I missed you for breakfast again. So.
Yeah, you did. I was early here this morning too. I was trying to find a way to get an edge on being in the minority in the state legislature. I've been working on that for a while, and
now, what time did you get to the?
I tried to write down a list of everybody who taught me something in this process. And Representative Jones here, Representative Ledbetter, Representative Rowe, all those folk who clotured me since I've been here. and oh yeah, and Representative Ledbetter remind me of Representative McCampbell may have even clotured me one time. But let me just say this. I want to explain this process today with you. I've never seen a 10-minute calendar where I couldn't be clotured. I had to take advantage of this. I really had to take advantage of it. I've never seen that before. And there are so many times that in the minority party that you get run over. Even when your argument is the most merited argument in the House, you still get run over. So I figured that this is the one time and the only time we'll see a 10-minute calendar without closure again. I figured this day was the only day. Unfortunately, we're supposed to be playing ball today. But my recommendation on that is, the speaker give you about 5 minutes to go put your shirt on. You can go straight from here to the stadium. You still make it on time. Because by the time we get to 6 o'clock, we're 5:45. You still make it over there in time. But one of the things that we want to convey is I wanted everybody to see how it feels not to be able to even give your constituents' point of view, not to be able to argue your point, not to be, and you know, for some reason I got cut off short today. I mean, what I got, about 2 minutes left?
Yes.
I got about 2 minutes left. I got cut off today. But just let me say this, that I constantly say that there has to be some integrity in the process, and I appreciate the education. So in the future, if we ever get an opportunity to have another 10-minute calendar without cloture, I figured then we could get something done on the other side of the aisle. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, you still got a couple of minutes. Go, keep talking. You can talk for a couple more minutes. Yeah, you got the 4:18.
Did I miss somebody on the people who educated me?
You made me feel bad. I want to give you that so you can talk some more.
And let me just say that what I'm really saying is very serious to me, because as you know, this is my first term up here.
Yes, sir.
And someone asked me a couple of days ago, do you think that this process is better than local government? And I'm gonna let you answer that. I think it's very cumbersome compared to local government. And I think that it's a different process altogether. But the most important part of it is that in many cases, and because of the nature of the process, you really don't get a chance in many cases to properly represent the view of the people who send you here. That's one of the important things about it, and that's the part of the process that I have an issue with. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, members, the question before us is going to be the adoption of the special order calendar. All the members in favor of this resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I believe the ayes have it. And Mr. Clerk, let's go ahead. Do you want to vote? You want to have a recorded vote if there's a request? Okay, all right, let's go ahead. Mr. Clerk, let's call the first bill on the 10-minute calendar.
On page 45 of the calendar, House Bill number 442 by Representative Hurst relating to education.
And Representative Hurst, you're recognized.
Vote. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What we've got before us today, y'all pay attention to this. I think all of you had some problems. I went to a ball game a while back and went up to pay. Now they said, you got to have a credit card. I said, okay. I reached in my bill phone, I couldn't find my credit card. And I said, well, maybe it's in the truck. I walked back out and I finally find it and I come back in. Well, what I found out after that is there was an elderly lady, about 80 years old, they said, but elderly. She was still driving. I won't say maybe she's that old. She brought 6 kids up there. And when she got there, she said, I want to get in. And they said, you got to have a credit card. She said, I don't have a credit card. And then she says, I drove almost 30 miles to bring these grandkids to this ball game. They wanted to see it, and I want to get in. You got to have a credit card. So she didn't get to go. Since that time, I found out it's happened at various places. I went to the committee. The committee worked with me. We got an amendment we want to put on it. But basically what it's going to say is this bill will require a public K through 12 school or a local board of education to accept all forms of payment, including cash for admission to school-sponsored sporting events that are open to the public. I move with the BIR.
I believe we are. If you're in favor of the BIR, your vote's going to be aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote.
Ready? Yeah. Mr. Speaker, I have an amendment that we worked on with the committee.
Hold on. Let's get the BIR counted
I'm sorry.
first. And clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 100 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and the BIR is adopted. Now you have a floor amendment.
Yes, sir. It originally
Clerk,
said...
hold on. Clerk, receive the amendment.
I'm sorry.
Amendment to House Bill number 442 by Representative Hurst.
All right, Representative Hurst.
The original bill said that they would accept all forms of payment, including cash, admissions, etc. But the amendment now is going to say excuse me, I had it wrong. They would accept all forms of cash, including cash. So we better reword it to make sure they should accept credit cards and cash, etc. So the amendment says shall accept cash as a form of payment, along with any other form of payment of its choosing.
All right. And the chair recognizes the gentleman from Clark County, Representative Jackson.
We ready to vote?
Do you want to speak, Representative Jackson? Oh, okay. All right. And if you members, it's time to vote on the floor amendment offered by the sponsor. If you're in favor of this amendment, your vote is aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. All the members voted. All the members voted?
Well, hold on. Let somebody vote me up there.
Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 99 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions. The floor amendment is adopted.
I move for passage, Mr. Speaker.
All right, we're on final passage of House Bill 442 as amended. If you're in favor of this bill, your vote is aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. We're on final passage. All the members voted.
Thank you, members. Thank you so much.
Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. 100 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions. House Bill 442 is passed.
Thank you for the 80-year-old grandmother. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Chair, thanks the gentleman. All right, clerk, call the next bill on special order.
On page 45 of the calendar, House Bill number 486 by Representative Reynolds relating to the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Representative Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this is a agency bill for the Department of Veterans Affairs. Basically deals with job titles, structure changes, some of the board reporting, and in one case, job classification. There was one concern about the bill from one of the representatives concerning representation from the World War II. And I did want to point out beyond the brief that should have been on all the desks and should have got it by email as well, that on page 5 says the nomination shall also include in representative proportions veterans of every war which are included in the membership of the organization. I'd call for the BIR.
All right, the question before us, adoption of the BIR. If you're in favor of the BIR, your vote is aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. All the members voted. All the members voted. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. There are 99 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions. The BIR is adopted. Representative Reynolds, we're back on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I did want to clarify one other item that was brought up. On page 17, they removed the requirements for the deputy commissioner to be an attorney, and that was the one job classification that I mentioned. And again, this verbiage and changes structurally for the Veterans Administration just brings it more in line with the federal Department of Veterans Affairs.
All right, and the chair recognizes the lady from Jefferson, Representative Coble.
Trying to get down here as quick as I can because of the time. Will the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted the quick question, though, on the updates just about the diversity. I see something that says inclusivity. Tell me what that means.
It does. So on the diversity side, excluding the governor, who is the chair based upon her position, the board has 16 members. There are 5 members who are other than Caucasian and 4 members who are women.
5 members that are other than Caucasian. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what's the racial breakdown
Okay,
then?
let me look over here. I can give the
Gentlemen, get to it quick. 7:57.
You ready?
I'm ready.
The membership of the board shall be inclusive and reflect the racial, gender, geographic, and economic diversity of the state.
Okay, that's what I was looking
Yes,
for.
ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
And then I'll get the specifics when we finish.
Yes, ma'am.
Chair thanks the lady. And, all right. I believe the question before us now is on final passage. If you're in favor of this bill, your vote is aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. On final passage. All the members voted. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. There are 100 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention, and House Bill 486 is passed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, body.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Clerk, call the next bill on special order.
On page 53 of the calendar, House Bill number 513 by Representative Stringer relating to firearms.
Representative Stringer, you're recognized.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. HB 513 is a technical issue in the definition of shotgun from the previous bill that I had.
Okay, all right. Yeah, members, you've heard explanation on that, and the chair recognizes Representative Rogers from Jefferson, gentleman from Jefferson County.
Okay.
first of all, define what you mean by the shotgun. Is this what kind of shotgun? I want to know.
It's just taking it back to the original language that that defined shotgun prior to the permit bill.
Okay, well, I know you changed something. I'm just trying to figure what. I'm not trying to. I don't want to know what you're changing.
Yes, sir. The previous definition was a weapon designed or redesigned, made or remade, or intended to be fired from the shoulder, and designed or redesigned or made or remade to be used the energy of an explosive in a fixed shotgun shell to fire through a smooth bore, either a number of ball shots or a single projectile for each single pull of a trigger. The new definition that has the technical issue was a weapon designed or redesigned or made or remade to use the energy of the explosives in a fixed shotgun shell to fire through a smooth bore, either a number of shots or 2 projectiles for each single shot.
Okay, for the shoulder, that's not short off then, I guess. Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, it's some of the ones that actually could have the pistol grips that it affects, but basically the definition that I'm trying to change it back to would put it in line with what the federal definition is.
All right.
Yes.
Plus the fact you're not on my list, so you okay with me? Okay, you're not on my list.
Yes,
so
sir.
I want to let you know that. Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir. Chair thanks the gentleman. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Jefferson County, Representative Rafferty.
Okay. All right.
All right. So just a couple questions here for you. First one is, we're trying to change the definition of ball shot, correct? Or incorporate the word ball shot.
Yes,
I think I saw that down there on page 4, page 3. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, well, ball shot now, what about rat shot that you could be shooting from perhaps a .357 Magnum?
Yes, sir.
So would that all of a sudden my .357 Magnum be classified as a shotgun?
No, sir. This I think the way I understand it, only by the new change, it's going to affect 2 different guns, the Shockwave and I think the Judge, which are made by companies here in Alabama.
All right, single projectile though. So what are you talking about with a single projectile?
It's not going to.
Shotguns, by definition, typically, something with buckshot.
Yeah, it's just changing it back to the original definition that we had in Alabama. Whenever we did the permit bill, there was a.
What was that?
Whenever we did the permit bill, there was a mix-up in the definition of the shotgun, and it affects some of the shotguns that people have.
Wait, so this has to deal with the permit bill?
No, sir.
This does not have to do with the permit bill. So what did you just say again?
It's the definition that was changed during that bill that's what we're trying to fix here.
All right. Why? Where's the bill? Where's this bill coming from? Besides just trying to trying to make the.
Yes, sir. Speaker, could I move to carry the bill over?
No, you don't have to do that.
You have that option.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll see my time to somebody else that wants to come down here and speak, if anybody else wants to come speak.
Well, there are some other lights on, so.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll move to carry it over.
Okay, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. That's part of the 10-minute calendar process.
Yes, sir.
I've had a few kill myself on the 10-minute calendar. I just asked the question, are you here to kill my bill? If that's the case, then we can move on to the next one. Yeah. All righty. All right. And that bill will be carried over and put back on the calendar. Okay? I'm sorry, not the calendar, but the pick list. All right. And the clerk call the next bill on the 10-minute calendar.
On page 54 of the calendar, House Bill number 463, a constitutional amendment relating to Coosa County.
And Representative Roberts, you're recognized.
All right, I want to explain this bill very quickly. This bill basically goes to the heart of what we are as a state, which is that we dare defend our rights, and our right, the most basic right, is the right to life, and that's what this bill is about. It's the right that a rural poor county has the right to exist. And what I mean by that is that, so you understand the Forever Wild program, and what it is land conveyed to Forever Wild is conveyed in a conservation trust to be managed by the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. This program has a lot of merits in that it conserves our resources, it protects our environment. As they say on their website, it allows people to enjoy the natural beauty of Alabama. But just like a lot of things that we do, it has some unintended consequences. And those unintended consequences are that it takes land off the tax rolls. And by taking land off the tax rolls, it means less revenue for counties such as Coosa County. And no county has suffered more under Forever Wild than Coosa County. At this point, every year, Coosa County gets $45,000 less in tax revenue because the land's owned by Forever Wild. Coosa County only gets $4.5 million in tax revenue annually off their property taxes. Since 2009, Coosa County has lost a total of $610,000 because of the Forever Wild program. As I said, we're a poor county. We only have one Piggly Wiggly and $3 Dollar General, so this property tax revenue is vital to our survival. And what we do is create a carbon credit program. Ready to vote? All right. Are y'all ready? I move for the BIR.
All right, I believe the question is the adoption of the BIR. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Hale County, Representative Howard.
Representative Roberts, I have one concern about this bill. We have a Forever Wild property in Hale County. If we're going to do this for Forever Wild, we need to do it across the state.
I will say I had a statewide referendum. I had a bill to do this statewide. But from conversations with the county commission and some other groups, Coosa County can be a test case. So what we do is we basically gather data. We see if selling carbon credits actually works, which is we're already doing this with the Forestry Commission, but we'll see if it's able to actually offset that loss. And if so, then we can maybe move to a statewide referendum, just give it 3 to 5 years and have data.
But it's not helping Coosa County. In this bill, it says it's going to the general fund of the state of Alabama. So how would that help?
No, it will be going now to the fund of Coosa County. Right now, any funds or money generated through Forever Wild goes to the general fund. So usually when they cut timber, that money goes to the general fund. If you were to sell a carbon credit, which is what this bill is about, where you could market carbon credits onto an open market, if those are sold, that money would then flow back to Coosa County only if the land was sold in Coosa County. So from where you live, if they sold a carbon credit, it wouldn't go to Coosa County.
Yeah.
It'd have to be sold on Coosa County land.
I'm not trying to kill your bill, but my only concern is this. We have Forever Wild properties all across the state. And I heard a gentleman, very smart attorney that sits over there talking about creating a class. Now we're creating a class in this bill, and that's Coosa County, when we should do this for all the counties that have Forever Wild properties.
I completely agree that we need to look at the statewide, but to do that, I think we need this test case of Coosa County, because it's suffered, when I say suffered the most, it has the most amount of land. And so after 3 years to 5 years, we could have data to show if it works or not. And then we could just eliminate it through another CA or have a statewide CA.
But we don't need a test case. I represent poor people.
I understand.
I've been representing poor people in poor counties for 18 years. We don't need a test case.
Well, what I meant by test case, we don't need we need a test case on the data. We need data to see if carbon credits sell for how much, and how much would a Forever Wild carbon credit sell for, so we could see how much that flowed back into the general fund of Coosa County, so then it could flow back into the general fund of Jackson County, DeKalb County, just start going off some of these counties, all the counties that you represent, so we would know, and then go statewide. We might see after a few years that it didn't generate as much as we thought, and let's just scrap the program.
If it generates any money in poor counties, it's a plus.
I agree. And the reason, people don't realize how poor Coosa County is. We're the only county that doesn't have a health department in the whole state. So that's one of the issues that, why it's a good test case, because it has the most acreage. And I don't mean to use the test case, that language, to imply that your counties you represent or any other one represents aren't important. I just say we can use this data to then see if it works statewide.
Not trying to kill your bill, but that's my only concern.
And I understand your concern.
All right.
I hope I can have your support, though.
All right, members, and the chair recognizes the lady from Jefferson, Representative Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentlemen, will you yield?
I will, Ms. Moore.
Just listen to Representative Howard and you talking about let's do an experiment for 4 or 5 years. When what I understand him to say is that those other counties that's got Forever Wild land, they need some benefits. So what comes into play to help them while they're doing an experiment to help out Coosa County? And you're not the only county that don't have a health department.
Well, what I'll tell you, Ms. Moore, is we passed Forever Wild as a state in 1992. So this problem has grown since then of taking property off the tax rolls. So I agree they need help now. Coosa County needs help now. Lots of counties need help now.
So I think since you said your original bill, and I'm not here to kill it either, I'm going to stop before so you can vote on it. But my thing is that if it was a statewide bill, was your thought process in the first place, because they all need help. It's just that I think that I would have gone ahead and obviously some of those county commissioners that you talked about must have had some kind of agenda. They couldn't see that there were other counties that needed the same kind of help.
Well, what I'll explain is that we're not talking about taxing Forever Wild. What we're talking about—
I know you're not.
We're talking about selling— that Forever Wild has a green asset.
That's right.
That asset is marketable as a carbon credit on an open market that could be sold to an emitter to offset their emissions.
That's correct, and other counties could do the same thing.
Other counties could. What we're talking about doing is making sure that the money generated off Forever Wild in Coosa County goes back to the general fund of Coosa County.
And that's what would happen if it included all those other counties. They could do a similar thing, and those monies, once they do those carbon sales, they could come back to help them too, because they're suffering. All of them are suffering.
I agree.
That's the only comment. I don't want you to just kill your own bill by responding back to me. But I just thought that was something to be considered, that we do need to probably, if you had that statewide bill, that maybe you need to work on and bring it back.
I think it's one of those cases
All right,
where you take it one step at a time.
If you're in favor of the BIR on this bill, your vote is aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote.
Okay.
Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. There are 95 yeas, 2 nays, 1 abstention. The BIR is adopted. Now we're on the final passage of House Bill 463. If you're in favor of this bill, your vote is aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. All the members voted. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. All right, we've got the local application resolution, and The 95 yeas, 3 nays, 2 abstentions. Now we're back on the local application resolution. If you're in favor of the resolution, your vote is aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. All the members voted. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 93 yeas, 0 nays, 5 abstentions, and the resolution is adopted. Chair thanks the gentleman.
Thank you, Speaker.
Yes, sir. You're welcome. All right. Clerk, call the next bill on special order.
On page 32 of the calendar, House Bill number 435 by Representative Wingo, related to education.
And Representative Wingo, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 435. This bill, Representative Baker yesterday said that our state finished dead last in math proficiency. This bill, House Bill 435, simply increases the current $20,000 forgiveness for students that are willing to go and teach math and science in underserved areas in our state. This bill raises currently our $20,000 incentive forgiveness to $30,000. It's been proven. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I ask for the BIR.
All right. I think it's time to address the BIR on this bill, and the chair recognizes the gentleman from Jefferson, Representative Rogers.
Thank you, Ms. Wingo. Do you remember signing a list to take my bill off the consent thing? You had to get 15 signatures. You really got 15 signatures on a bill. I haven't tried to pass a bill since then. You know why? Because I've been waiting on this opportunity. So you might want to carry a bill over. I'm gonna say at 10 minutes you put it on another calendar. You remember when you got this list and signed 15 names? You had to get 15 names. It's a good bill. Maybe somebody else ought to carry it other than you. If your name went on it, I wouldn't be up here. But you wanted the 15 names on that list. You remember that, right?
I do.
Okay, I'm sorry. You never apologize for it. The other 14 people can't say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean you do it. You never can't tell you were sorry, and I released everybody off the list.
But Mr. Rogers, why would I tell you I'm sorry if I'm
not? You wasn't sorry, right?
I'm not sorry.
You been the killer because my name's on it, right? Well, I'm killing your bill, so you take it off if you want to take it off.
Do you recall what that was about?
I don't want to know what it's about. I don't care. I don't care if you got gold and jewels on it. I don't care if you got honey and sugar and milk and powder on it. I'm taking my 10 minutes on this 10 minute calendar on your bill.
Mr. Speaker, I ask to carry it over.
All right. At the request, you carry the bill over.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right. Chair thanks the gentleman. All right. Clerk, call the next bill on the special order.
On page 38 of the calendar, House Bill number 383 with substitute by Representative Wadsworth relating to estates.
And Representative Wadsworth, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is the first of a series of ALI bills that they're going to revise the Uniform Probate Code, and it deals with will contests. What the bill does is right now, will contests can originate both in the circuit court and also in the probate court. This bill says all will contests must originate in the probate court. It also says that if there is the probate judge is a judge that is an attorney and has equity powers, that a will contest cannot be removed to circuit court. But in all cases where the probate judge is a lawyer and does not have equity, it cannot be removed. With that, if there's no questions, I'm going to move for the BIR.
All right, we're on the BIR. The chair recognizes the lady from Madison, Representative Hall. And we are on the BIR now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. But the gentleman yield.
Yes, ma'am.
It's difficult at best to hear what you're saying
Yeah.
behind you, so I'm here to ask a legitimate question.
Okay.
Just in case somebody's thinking otherwise. I mean, if I was good.
I understand.
Help me. And you said this is an ALI, this is a law institute?
It is.
bill.
It's the first in the series. They're trying to revise the Uniform Probate Code, and this is the first in the series of ALI bills.
So, and what I understand, so maybe I should let you tell me what you were saying
Okay.
as it relates to a will originated
Yeah.
in the probate court, and then what this bill
Yeah.
does or will make it better.
Okay, currently, will contests can originate through both the circuit court and also in the probate court, and it's confusing because it's dealing with two sets of case laws and statutes. What this bill says that all will contests must originate first in the probate court. So we got one uniform place.
Okay.
And then if a will
And
contest.
would you stop right there?
Yes, ma'am.
Suppose in the probate court that you don't, I mean, if it's being contested, there is, whether that person is an attorney or not, it's still,
It can be
Which one?
removed to circuit court.
if it's determined that that person is not capable with its legal skills.
Well, no, if there's some counties that there are attorneys now that don't have equity power.
Right.
This bill still allows that case will contest to be removed to circuit court.
Okay.
If the attorney does not have equity powers. But if they're an attorney and have equity powers, then the will contest must remain in the circuit, in the probate court.
And if that is, and that makes the difference. That's the major difference.
That's
whether
correct.
whether or not there is an attorney presently serving
And has equity powers.
and has it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and Chair thanks the lady. All right, the question before us is adoption of the BIR. If you're in favor of the BIR, your vote is aye. Opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. All the members voted. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. There are 97 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions. The BIR is adopted. Representative Wadsworth, we're back on the bill.
If there's no questions,
I'm showing a substitute by the Judiciary Committee.
but absolutely, there's a substitute which
Explain the reason for the substitute.
there was some technical changes and other changes.
Can you go over those right quick?
Yeah, they were actually what I explained originally was actually
Okay.
the same provisions.
All right, okay. All right, seeing no questions, we're ready to vote on the sub. If you're in favor of the committee sub, your vote is aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. All the members voted. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. There are 101 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and the committee sub is adopted. Representative Wadsworth, we're back on the bill now.
On the bill, just move for final passage as substituted.
All right, we're on final passage as substituted. If you're in favor of this bill, your vote is aye. Opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Don't work this. Hold on. All the members voted. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 99 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and House Bill 383 is passed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, body.
Yes, sir. Chair thanks the gentleman. All right. Clerk, call the next bill on special order.
On page 3 of the calendar, House Bill number 85 by Representative Garrett relating to public deposits.
Chairman Garrett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the recognition. Yesterday, the body passed two bills that allowed for programs administered by the state treasurer to meet virtually. That was the PAC board and the Alabama Trust Fund board. This bill would allow for the Security for Alabama Funds Enhancement programs to meet virtually. This board oversees a program to provide a uniform program for security of public funds deposited with the financial institutions in the state of Alabama and quality to serve as depositories for public funds. Mr. Speaker, I move for BIR.
And the chair thanks the gentleman. I believe the question before us will be the adoption of the BIR. And the lady from Madison is recognized.
I will yield.
That's okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the gentleman yield?
Yes.
Was there was a mention of a board of directors, and I have not gone through this bill because I got them late last night. Are you able to tell me what the makeup of those board of directors? I was looking for the diversity.
Yeah, there's diversity language in the bill, actually. But this is a bill, these are financial experts that oversee the deposits under the treasurer, and there is a diversity language.
We have a few people with some dollars too in finances.
I'm sorry? Yeah, I believe. So.
But I did not, because I scanned most of these, so I did not see that language.
I'm looking.
Legislative Reference Service, would you help look as well? Because I didn't find it. And we can get an amendment.
If
So I see a place where you have on page 5 where you've indicated members of the board of directors. You could very easily say shall be inclusive, et cetera, and or then that's a possibility there.
yeah, I don't mind.
But I don't mind. I did not see it.
Yeah, that should be in here. Mr. Speaker, we carry it over to the college chair and see if I can find this. Okay, thank you.
Well, yeah, we just carry the bill over.
Okay.
That'll be the proper motion.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Chair thanks the gentleman. And that bill will be carried over. All right, Mr. Clerk, let's go to the next bill on the special order.
On page 41 of the calendar, House Bill number 410 by Representative Scott, relating to the Board of Optometric Scholarship Awards.
And Representative Scott, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, members of the House. This is the Board of Optometric Scholarship Awards bill. The bill is essentially designed to meet the need in the poor areas in the state of Alabama. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I move the BIR.
All right, the question is the BIR. If you're in favor of the BIR, your vote is aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. All the members voted? All the members voted. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. There are 97 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention, and the BIR is adopted. All right, let's move on. We're back on the bill now, Representative.
Thank you very much, members of the chamber. I ask that we move for
Final passage.
final passage.
All right, I believe that's where we are. All right, if you're in favor of this bill, please remember Representative Scott's machine up there. If you're in favor of this bill, your vote is aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. I'm sure you won't vote for your own bill, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote.
Thank you very much, members.
There are 101 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and House Bill 410 is passed. And the clerk called the next bill on special order.
On page 2 of the calendar, House Bill number 90 by Representative Ingram relating to motor vehicle dealers.
Representative Ingram.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to carry this bill over indefinite.
All right. Let's just carry it over today, and then we'll do that later on the Senate.
All right.
Okay. All right. And the bill will be carried over. All right, Mr. Clerk, let's go to the next bill on the special order.
On page 21 of the calendar, House Bill number 348 by Representative Moore P. relating to the Board of Examiners of Landscape Architects.
Representative Moore, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, body. This bill just cleans up language within the board and restructures some of the fees to current date. If there are no questions, then I ask for the BIR.
All right, the question before us is the adoption of the BIR. If you're in favor of the BIR, your vote is aye. If opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. All the members voted. And the clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 100 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and the BIR is adopted. Representative Moore, we're back on the bill.
Yes, sir. Mr. Speaker, I would like to substitute it for SB 222. It is the companion bill that we have.
We're not supposed to.
222, Coleman Madison's.
All right. Do we have that bill, Mr. Clerk? We're checking to see, but we are ready?
Yes.
We got to check it to make sure that the wording's all the same. Just hold on. Just hold on a minute. Let's get our stuff together here first, and then I'll call on you. While we're checking that, I do have some lights on for the sake of time. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Clark County, Representative Jackson. Come down.
I just had a question, Mr. Speaker. Just could that happen on this 10-minute calendar, substituting bills like this?
And of course, the motion is appropriate motion because the bill's on the floor to be addressed. But the problem you run into on a 10-minute calendar, you've got to make sure the wording is exactly the same in both bills. You take a risk of running out of time. And then if there's any questions, you have that issue to deal with.
Yes, I'm not feeling.
I understand. And the lady from Madison, Representative Hall.
My question, thank you, Mr. Speaker, is referring to it. There's an area on page 6 that talks about the board, and I wanted to make sure that as we look at these bills, as I stated, I got these late last night, so that was not. But it indicates that the board may institute a proceeding. I am making an assumption at this point that there is a landscaping board.
Yes, ma'am.
And that board, do you know, or let's find out because it said the Alabama State Board of Examiners of Landscaping, then we can find out what the makeup of that board is.
Yes, ma'am. We can definitely do that.
Thank you.
All right, and I believe it's all the lights. Let's go ahead and let's move forward. We've accepted the BIR on House Bill 348, so now we're ready to accept your motion of substitute the Senate bill, and it'd be Senate Bill 222. Are there any objections to that motion? Hearing no objections, then we are now moving on Senate Bill 222, and the question for us will be on the adoption of the BIR for the Senate bill. If If you're in favor of the BIR, your vote is aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. All the members voted? And the clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. There are 97 yeas, 2 nays, 1 abstention. The BIR is adopted. And now, Representative Moore, we're back on the bill.
Mr. Speaker, if there are no further questions, I ask for final passage.
All right, we're on final passage of Senate Bill 222. If you're in favor of this bill, your vote is aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. All the members voted. And the clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. There are 97 yeas, 1 nay, 1 abstention, and Senate Bill 222 is passed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, body.
All right, Chair thanks the gentleman. All right, clerk, call the next bill on special order.
On page 36 of the calendar, House Bill number 337 by Representative Shaver relating to crimes and offenses.
And Representative Shaver, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 337 was passed by, of course, a different number last year, and I had worked with Representative McCampbell to address some issues, and what it does is Mr. Speaker, I'm going to carry this bill over.
All right, all right. At the request of the sponsor, we'll carry the bill over. And the chair thanks the lady. All right. And Chair, I'm sorry, let me get caught up here. The clerk call the next bill on the special order. Moving kind of fast here, aren't we, Mr. Clerk?
Page 44 of the calendar, House Bill number 467 by Representative Mooney relating to private investigators.
And the chair recognizes Representative Mooney.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is the original bill that was passed by Representative Howard Sandiford when he saw the need to help the private investigators and establish a private investigative board. After a year of work, the board and the Alabama Private Investigation Association have worked to collectively come together on a bill that would take care of some technical issues with the bill that was passed in 13. After a year, it would provide the ability for our private investigators to work in reciprocity with Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee and move the... That's fine. And to let the bill, to let the board be able to provide standards that would be up to national standards. And the whole concept is, in this whole bill, is to protect citizens and consumers in Alabama. And move the BIR.
All right, I believe that's the question before us, the adoption of the BIR. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Jefferson, Representative Rogers.
Whatever. I mean, I can't carry it over. You can't carry it over on this. Well, he said you couldn't. Oh, no. That's what I'm saying. It's fine. I'm going to let him have his say. Because I haven't said
Mr. Mooney.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
I love you, but do you remember signing that letter against my bill that was a real bill, a small bill, real knocky? You remember signing that letter with 15 signatures on it to get it off the calendar?
I do not, because I've never signed.
I got you.
I don't remember it, and we've had differences before. But I respect you, Representative Rogers.
I respect you.
I did. That's fine, and I realize that's perfectly.
But I got your signature on the letter, and I don't never call the other name, but it took 15 signatures to get it off the calendar. I mean, it's because everybody agreed upon the departments who affected agreed on anything.
I appreciate
it. Was just a simple bill.
Well,
and I remember Chairman Jones tried to work it out, but y'all wouldn't budge. So 15 signatures, your name was one of the 15.
Well, I don't remember that it was, but I respect you, and you're fine with what you're doing. I get
okay,
that.
all right. Well, thank you.
If you can carry it over, sir, I'd be glad to carry it over. Thank you.
All right, and by the request of the sponsor, to carry that bill over.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, sir. Chair thanks the gentleman. All right. And Mr. Clerk, let's go to I'll slow down just a little. Let's go to the next bill on the special order.
On page 11 of the calendar, House Bill number 145 by Representative Ingram relating to motor vehicles.
Representative Ingram.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to indefinitely carry this bill over.
All right, all right. The request is to indefinitely carry the bill over. And I believe that motion, are there any objections to that motion? Hearing none, then that bill will be indefinitely carried over.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. All right. And the clerk will call the next bill on the special order.
On page 3 of the calendar, House Bill number 211 by Representative Garrett relating to the Department of Finance.
And Representative Garrett, you're on House Bill 211.
Mr. Speaker, I move to carry this bill over.
All right, all right. And the request is to carry this bill over. So your request is granted to carry the bill over. All right. Let's go ahead and call the next bill on the special order.
On page 19 of the calendar, House Bill number 413 by Representative Scott relating to education.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Members of the body, this bill is similar to the optometric bill that provides scholarships, but it's for dental education. And with that said, Mr. Speaker, I ask for the BIR.
All right. The question is the adoption of the BIR, and the chair recognizes the gentleman from Hale County, Representative Howard.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would a gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
I think we had this conversation before, but I need a little bit more clarity. Why would it eliminate the Rural Dental Scholars Program and give the board the authority to make loans?
The Rural Dental Scholarship Program, from what I understand, was not as effective as the loans will be in getting students into the program.
And why is that, if you're going to give somebody a scholarship?
The scholarships would be academic scholarships based, and when you deal with more academic scholarship based, you are not attracting the broadest range of students into the program. And there are loans provided that will cover the full term of a student going into the program based upon them addressing the demographic needs within the state where the most people with the worst poverty need to be served.
How much diversity is on this board?
That is a good question, but I have an amendment that will address the issue of the diversity, and the amendment gets into the race, gender, and ethnic backgrounds of board members.
I'm not going to try to kill this bill, but I think we can give scholarships and loans.
I'll be happy to work with you as it moves up to the Senate, and if there's an amendment that will fit, that will address the issue for you, I'll be happy to do it.
Thank you.
All right. And chair recognizes Representative McCammell, gentleman from Marengo, up the second floor. Representative Scott.
Representative
Scott. He's
up here.
Oh, yes.
I just wanted to know, now these loans, are these loans going to be of the nature that could be forgivable if they work within a certain
demographic area that meets the shortage needs within the state of Alabama of dentistry?
So, but they are the forgivable.
They are forgivable based upon the amount of time that they serve, so a certain percentage of them are forgivable.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I believe the question now is going to be on the BIR. If you're in favor of the BIR on this bill, your vote is aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. All the members voted. And the clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. There are 94 yeas, 1 nay, 0 abstentions. The BIR is adopted. And Representative Scott, we're back on the bill now.
With that being said, I'd like to amend the bill to include the racial and ethnic diversity.
Have you got an amendment?
Yes, sir.
All right, clerk, receive the amendment.
Amendment to House Bill 413 by Representative Scott.
And Representative Scott, go ahead.
It's the membership of the board shall be inclusive and reflect the racial, gender, geographic, urban, rural, and economic diversity of the state. The board shall annually report to the legislature by the second legislative day of each regular session the extent to which the board has complied with the diversity requirements of this subsection.
All right, and members, you've heard explanation of the floor amendment offered by the sponsor. And with that in mind, we'll be ready to, if you are in favor of this amendment, your vote is aye. If you oppose, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. All the members voted. And the clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 98 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and the floor amendment is adopted. Representative Scott?
With that being said, I ask for final passage of the bill.
All right, we're on final passage of House Bill 413 as amended. If you're in favor of this bill, your vote is aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. All the members voted. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. There are 99 yeas, 1 nay, 0 abstentions, and House Bill 413 is passed.
Thank you very much, Member.
Yes, sir. Chair thanks the gentleman. All right, if the clerk will call the next bill.
On page 27 of the calendar, House Bill number 447 by Representative Garrett relating to public health.
And Representative Garrett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Recognition. Last couple of years during the COVID pandemic, there were a number of bills that dealt with health officers. This was a bill that I had previously filed. I had spoken with both the state health officer and the county health officer in Jefferson County before directing this bill, and they were not opposed to this bill. This bill basically codifies what they informally already do. What it does, it provides that during a pandemic, that a county health officer cannot issue an order beyond the scope of a state health officer's order without the written approval of a state health officer. So what this does, it has two sets of eyes on an order that goes beyond the state health officer's order, and it makes sure that there's a check and a balance. And again, I'd spoken with both health officers during the previous years, and I think this is good policy. So with that, I move to the BIR.
All right, the question is the adoption of the BIR. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Mobile, Representative Bracey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
I have some concerns about the bill because, of course, you know, it's two county health officers that have this authority, right?
Right.
And those are?
Mobile and Jefferson.
Mobile and Jefferson. Have you talked to Mobile health officer about this?
I have not talked to him this year. I think I spoke with, not recently, no. And I know with Dr. Wilson through Dr. Harris, we've had conversations, but I don't know, I've not talked to them about this. And let me just say this too, if this is a problem in a bill that you want to, if you don't want this to pass, you're going to use the time, I'll carry it over. But I just thought this was good policy because it gave.
I don't have an issue with the policy, but what I do, I have an issue with the fact that, and I'm just trying to have healthy conversations, right?
Right. Sure.
We have a new health officer in Mobile. Our health officer just retired. I'm talking about a month ago, right? Officially retired. And Mobile and Jefferson are the only two counties in the state that has this authority, and now we're saying that we're really taking that authority away from them, saying that they have to answer to the state health officer. Well, and I just don't understand. I would like to know more about.
Yeah.
I would like to know more about what our health officer feels about this before this bill goes forward. I understand that you're in Jefferson. You know, y'all may have agreed, but I think we have a responsibility to protect our health.
I respect that. And again, the point of this was you could conceivably have a county health officer, not the two that are in place now, but a county health officer that was would go rogue or would do something that was radically different from the state health officer that maybe didn't make medical sense. Now, again, most of in all cases, what was going through the pandemic with Jefferson County, and I think Mobile as well, they consulted with Dr. Harris.
Yeah, they consulted with it, but they didn't have to.
No, that's
right.
right.
But out of respect, they did. So I didn't really see where it was an issue to be dealt with.
So sometimes what would happen would be an order would take place and the two parties would agree, but somebody would approach Dr. Harris and say, well, that's a county order, not my order. And then the county guy would say, yeah, but I've spoken to the health officer. I think this is an issue that needs discussion. So, Mr. Speaker, I think we just should carry this over because out of respect for the Mobile delegation, I think they do need to have that opportunity. So,
thank you, Representative Garrett.
All right, at the request of the sponsor, we'll carry this bill over. And Mr. Clerk, let's call the next bill on the special order.
On page 34 of the calendar, House Bill number 455 by Representative Sells relating to the Administrative Office of Courts.
And Representative Sells, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is agreed upon house cleaning legislation by the Personnel Department and the Administrative Office of the Courts. It does away with the Court Management Office, which no longer exists, and it lines up the leave from the Office of the Administrative Courts with the merit employees, so if they need to, they can transfer their leave carries with them. Not any questions, Mr. Speaker, ask for the BIR.
All right, the question before us now is going to be on the adoption of the BIR. If you're in favor of the BIR, your vote is aye. If you're opposed, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. All the members voted. And the clerk will unlock the machine. Lock the machine. Record the vote. 98 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention. The BIR is adopted. And now, Representative Sells.
Mr. Speaker, at this point, I'd ask for final passage.
We're on final passage of House Bill 455. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Baldwin, Representative Simpson.
Representative Sells, will you yield?
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to kill your bill. I'm going to get up here, but I'd be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to discuss issues with the Administrative Office of Courts. The allocation of judges is severely lacking in this state. We have had study after study after study about the need for judges to be reallocated and to go through the process of what we have. We are down 2.65 judges in Baldwin County in the Circuit Division, which is third in the state. Mobile County, which I also represent, is down 2.63 judges in the circuit, which is 4th in the state. We talk about the judges and where they are. There are certain judges that are overstaffed. Mobile and Baldwin County are severely, severely understaffed. You look at what's going on in the district court level. We're 1.99 judges. Baldwin County is first on the district court level. Mobile County is suffering from the Baldwin court level, from the district court level in Baldwin court. At some point, the Administrative Office of Courts is going to have to step in and do the allocation of judicial judgeships like they have promised to do, like they are ordered to do by the act that was passed in this body in 2017. We are hurting our judicial system by continuously not doing anything to address these problems. We duck our heads in the stand, we do all we possibly can, and then we just say, oh, well, the legislature is supposed to pass it. No, we did pass it. We passed an independent body to come forward and do something about reallocating these judgeships, and they have sat on their hands now for 5 years and nothing's been done. Do you know how many judges have been reallocated since that act in 2017? No. Not a one. Wow. Not a one. So this isn't about your bill, but this is about the Administrative Office of Courts, and it's time for them to step up and do their job. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Right.
Thank you, body. Mr. Speaker, can I say one more thing?
You can. You're the sponsor of the bill. All right. Well, all right. Well, I'm assuming you want to pass this bill, don't you? Don't walk away yet. Yeah. All right. Go ahead. You recognize.
Yes, sir. For the final
passage?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yes, I had called for that.
Yes, sir. The chair recognizes the gentleman from. Okay. All right. All right. We're on final passage, members of House Bill 455. If you're in favor of this bill, your vote is aye. If you oppose, your vote is no. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. All the members voted. And clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 98 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions. House Bill 455 is passed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, body.
Yes, sir. Batter up. Okay, all right. And the chair recognizes Representative Crawford, Chairman Crawford, for an announcement he needed to make. Personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to remind the body that tomorrow morning, the Alabama Legislative Sportsman's Caucus Breakfast is across the parking lot here at the Post Administrative Building. It's from 8 till 9:30, and the King Street that goes on this side of that building, there'll be someone there that'll let you in at the bottom floor there, right across the parking lot, and it'll be handled. Breakfast will be in room 112 and 113, right there on King Street. Thank you, Mr.
All right, members, you've heard the announcement. Thank you, Chairman Crawford. And now the chair recognizes the gentleman from Mobile, Mr. Pro Tem, for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've been asked to announce, if it's all right to do so, that Delta Day is tomorrow. I think that may involve hopefully wearing red. Okay. Also, I've been asked to announce, Mr. Speaker, that the Home Builders Breakfast from 7:30 to 9:30 will occur in the morning on the Capitol lawn.
All right. Got those announcements out of the way. Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem.
Yes, if the tent is still standing. Mr. Speaker, I have a motion now.
Let's hope it is. I'm ready for the motion. Yes.
Well, Mr. Lee said that. I was just.
Okay. Well, it did. Let's pray that that doesn't happen.
That's right. That's right. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House leave the journal open until such time as the clerk completes his paperwork, and at which point we will stand in adjournment until Thursday, March the 31st at 10 a.m.
All right, members, you've heard the motion before. You all in favor? Say aye. Any opposed? All right, and we are adjourned.